March 17, this wonderful, beautiful morning, here at the Anchor of Hope of the Ministry of Life Formation Mission Academy. Good morning to you, blessed and beloved teachers and parents, and of course, our beloved students. Welcome again. We have been looking into the pathways to blessedness. Lenten journey that we are taking here in this Anchor of Hope in order to discover more and more about the things of God in this holy season of Lent. We have looked and studied our basic scripture from Psalm 23. In verse 3, it says there, "He guides me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake." The pathways to righteousness, the pathways to life, the pathways to the things of God. And also, our other scripture is taken from Matthew chapter 5. Remember, the context and scene of this scripture is Jesus goes up on a mount and He leaves the crowd behind, and only His disciples follow Him. And He begins to now share with His disciples the pathways to blessedness, the pathways to righteousness, the pathways to what a blessed life is really all about. Remember, to be blessed is not about material things. It is not about the things that we have as possessions. It may be part of that, but it's more than that, much more. To be blessed means to be made holy by God. Holy means that we are a different people. We are a people that God has formed, created, and made specially for His use. We are to serve God. And that service, as we serve God by serving others, is what blessedness really is all about. We can say we are so blessed because, as we have learned last week, to be blessed means to be happy, to be fulfilled, to be satisfied. Many times we look for satisfaction in the world. We look for our friends who will bring us satisfaction. And sometimes they fail us. We look for material things to bring us satisfaction. But many times we lose them or they don't function anymore. We look for money to have satisfaction because we think we can buy anything with money. Well, we can buy many things with money, but there are also a lot of things we cannot buy, like true happiness, joy, peace. I know of many people who have a lot of possessions, a lot of money, but they don't have peace in their hearts. And as God's people, we want to share and look into what true blessedness is in order that we can become the people of God. That's why this series is entitled Pathways, or The Road to Blessedness, the road to become God's people, the road to become God's disciple. Jesus goes up the mountain, and let's again look at that, the scripture verses that we have read apart from it the past weeks. And we begin with Matthew chapter 5. It says there in verse 1, "When Jesus saw the crowds, He went up on the mountain, and after He sat down, His disciples came to Him." Notice that. His disciples came to Him. And then let's skip to verse 3. "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. And blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Last week we started with the blessed are the poor in spirit. And we talked about being poor here, not as defined as having nothing in the world or no possessions. Poor here means that we are nothing without God. We need God. Like a poor man who we see in the streets, he needs money. We are poor in our spirit because within us, we need God. Today, let us look at the second pathway to blessedness, or the second stage of our pathway to blessedness, which is, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. To mourn means many times to be sad, but it is not a sad because of hopelessness. It is not a sad because of despair. It is a sad because there is still something missing in our lives. That sadness is because we see in scriptures, we see with our parents and our teachers teaching us that there are still many things that we need to do. And many times we fail. Many times we fall short. And that is sad. That is mournful. And it says there, when we begin to mourn, we will be comforted. We will find the true joy of life. We will be able to understand what life is all about. The life of grace, God's provisions, and God's abundance. You see, it is to mourn means not to conform with evil. Remember in Romans chapter 12, verse 2, it says, "Do not be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind." Many times when we conform, that means we try to do what we see the world doing. Even if though we know it's bad, we still do them. That is mournful. That is sad, because the true joy can only be found when we are living the life of Christ, walking in the pathway to blessedness. May this word of mourning challenge us to realize we still need God. We still need many things. There are still many things lacking in our lives. And only God, only Him can satisfy us. I pray that God's grace and abundance will be with you today and always. Stay on the pathway to blessedness.